Boom, boom. Okay. Okay. This is Bridges for Music. Kid Fonque, aka Alan Nicol, has played a vital role in South African electronic music and club culture over the last 20 years. He founded the Stay True Sounds label in 2015 to showcase South African hip hop and electronica. Both of his albums have been held to high acclaim with support from the likes of Giles Peterson and Alex Bark of Jazzuelle. His Selective Styles radio show started on national broadcaster 5FM in 2016, which won Best Dance Radio Show at the 2019 Dance Music Awards. He's the de facto spokesperson for Mzansi's electronic music scene and one of its proudest proponents. Please join us as one of our co-creators, Sange, chats with Kid Fonque.
Okay, hi everyone. You're speaking to Sangenyala and we're at Bridges Academy in Langa. Today we have Kid Fonque in the house. Woohoo! Kid, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Super pumped that you're here.
Yeah, finally.
Finally.
You know?
Yeah. So, you've been in the industry for over 20 years. What's the one question like you always asked?
Okay, there's two questions I'm always asked. One is, why are you so tall? Okay, which is, I don't know what to say to that. Like, what do you say to someone?
I was born this way.
Exactly. But I mean, it's a constant.
It's a shock.
Yeah. People are properly shocked when they see me. And the next one is, how do I get my music to Stay True Sounds? Yeah.
I mean, you can't fault them for asking that, right?
No, you can't. I think Stay True Sounds is a very beautiful thing. And I think people have seen the work that it does and the lives that it's changed through putting out music. So it does make sense why people want to be part of that.
Yeah, it's really great. It's a really great movement. And then what can we expect from Stay True Sounds next year?
I gotta finish this year. I'm like on the finishing run of this year. So next year I've got a really incredible album that I've already put quite a lot of energy into from an artist called MMK. He's a rapper, singer, keys player, multi-instrumentalist, like completely left off center. So that'll probably come out in, March. I've got albums from T. White in January already. I've got the Atmos Black remix of Beats by Hand, Chama Music remix of Beats by... That's the Gypsy Woman song, yeah. I might as well... Hey, the cat can be out the bag. I got Atmos Black and CO to work on some stuff together, which I think we're going to do 2 separate EPs. I've got 4 songs. We'll split them up throughout the year. I'm into like March 2023 with the release schedule. I'm always working. And there's so much great music to come out. I got a China Deep EP in the bag. I got a... Who else? Wapo Gigi.
Yeah.
I've signed, I think, 5 or 6 Wapo Gigi tracks. Then Stay True Sounds Volume 5 is going to drop, which is literally me curating and finding the best music from bedroom producers across the country. So that's like 15, 20 songs. So yeah, lots of stuff. Always.
And then how are we ending off the year? Is it the China album?
Always.
Okay.
Anelka drops on the 9th of December.
Excited.
And the week before that, Peace and Order by Andida Andy, also a full album. And then we just had Chronical Deep last week, Friday.
Great one.
Hey, that the clapbacks.
Yeah.
And then, what else have I got up my sleeve? Okay, there's always stuff cooking.
So how would you describe like how the year has been for Stay True Sounds?
Good. I've put a lot of energy into a lot of things that have... look, I think the business is working in South Africa. My energy, my real focus is taking the business overseas. I kind of feel like there's enough ambassadors for the Afro tech sound and the piano sound. And not enough for the deep space, which is kind of where I'm putting my hand up and I'm going, cool, I'm going to put in the work to spread the word of what's going on in my musical space. So I've taken a lot of time, end of last year, the tail end of COVID, and this year traveling and just pushing my agenda, just pushing what I'm involved in musically in South Africa, and more of that next year. But I think, you know, I'm seeing the labors of my work come to life through the work that I've done overseas. So hopefully is a bad word.
Yeah.
We're going to start seeing some movement in our space. China Charmeleon is probably going to gig overseas, and we're going to expand his brand and CEO and the likes of. So I think that's like the main objective.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's what this year has been focus-wise.
This year you've been like on our necks, just consistently
Trying.
That's what we love, because,
Exactly.
you know, you don't want to sit. I mean, yes, we love the songs, but like when you're surprised, as in like drop another, we're like, yes, you know, yes, give it to me, you know.
Exactly.
We're always excited, man.
Yeah.
So for a female, I'm trying to get into deep house, and there's a few of us. And then female producers for deep house.
Great. I've not
advice?
heard any female producers.
That's what I'm trying to do. Any advice?
I don't know. Just make dope music. That's always my advice. Like, don't try to be someone else.
Yeah.
Do you. Don't try and produce or sound like someone else. Of course, admire and be influenced by people.
Yeah.
But always do you. I mean, Zita Moa sounds so different to Jazzuelle, who sounds so different to Fka Mash, who sounds so different to Atmos Black, and all of them have got their thing. And I think that's what I'm looking for, is someone that can have a definitive sound and stand out above everyone else.
Yeah. And then, you know, with me getting into deep house and stuff, so there's that thing of, oh, there's no money in deep house, like, oh, you're not gonna make it, like, you're not gonna make a living out of it. What do you feel about that statement?
I think there's money everywhere. If in any sphere of life, the more energy you put into something, the more energy you get back. It can be deep house, it can be piano, it can be Afrotech. And I think if you put in the energy, then you'll have an outcome. But it's easy to just sit on your ass and say there's no money when you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
So the more you feed it, the more will come out. And that's what I believe with me and everyone else that has just been sitting in this room now. Like Ralph Gum feeds the Ralph Gum machine with music and DJ sets and a commitment to the scene. Same with Christos, same with Vinny. And yes, there's people coming up, but they must hustle to get to and take those positions. Fka Mash was one of the kids in the room 5 years ago. Where's he now? Because he's hustled. So I think, I don't think I know for a fact that when you put the work in, there's going to be results. But you need to be able to motivate yourself and get up every day and make sure that you're doing something towards achieving those goals.
Yeah. So there's that whole thing of Cape Town versus Pretoria. So which one do you prefer?
I didn't know that there was beef.
There's not beef, but
It
like
sounds like there's beef.
There's always that thing, like, for people to make it, you need to go to Joburg. That's the thing. Like, if you're from Cape Town, you need to go to Joburg and then bring it back. How do you feel about that concept? And why can Cape Town do differently?
I love Cape Town. I think Cape Town's got its own groove and its own thing. And I think it's very personal what the person wants to achieve to where they'll be. But Dwson is a thing in Cape Town.
Yeah.
He hasn't moved to Joburg, and he's still a thing. He plays in Joburg, and he plays in Cape Town, and he plays in Durban, and he travels. So I don't think it's specific to where you are. However, it probably could be maybe on the gig-wise a little bit more if you're in Josie, because my reality is very different. Josie is a lot bigger, more events. But again, I think it's something you just need to weigh up personally and see what you want. But I look at people in Cape Town and that have been part of their world, and I've seen them from infancy to where they are now, and they seem to be doing fine in Cape Town. So I don't know. To answer your question, I don't. I think it's very personal.
Okay. I mean, that's understandable.
Sure.
And then what was what's like your favorite memory on set?
Which set?
Any set.
Well, in a DJ set.
DJ set, yeah.
So many. There's so many great memories of so many. Like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I love what I do. Like, above the record label, above the radio show, above everything, like, I'm a DJ at heart. That's my love. And I love sharing music with people, and I love people discovering music through what I do. There's too many moments to even try and pick one, but I would definitely think my happy place is when I play something that I know no one has ever heard before, and it's on the dance floor, and people just connect, and I'm like, I knew it. Like, I knew that this track was special, and I'm the one that's playing it to you for the first time. That's very rewarding for me. Cool.
And what's Finn's favorite song now?
Hey, Finn is not into music.
What do you mean?
Finn is my love. He's my boy. He's my everything. But Finn's not at this moment in his life gravitating towards music, which is also totally cool. He doesn't have to. I don't put any pressure on him to. His favorite song, I don't even know the artist, but I can go the one that goes, "What you know about rolling down in the deep." That's his ultimate. So that's his favorite song.
Okay, that's cool. And then, like, what's your biggest challenge at the moment?
Sure. I would say, without a doubt, trying to monetize properly the music that I release. Not just for me, for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I look at someone like Alpeo, and I'm so into his album.
Yeah.
And I was a huge part of putting that record together. And this guy has no money. He lives in a township in Limpopo. And we chat like once a week. And I just want to turn the money on for him. But there's only so much I can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As me, to be able... And I want him to earn money off his craft.
Yeah.
It would be pointless me just giving him money, because that means that he's not going to actually take what he's doing seriously.
Yeah.
I want him to fall, and I want him to win. And I want that for so many of the artists on the label. And every single day I'm trying to find a way for us. And I mean, more than anything, for artists to make money from the shit that they really love doing. And like Alpeo's, he's a magician, in my opinion. He's an absolutely incredible producer. And the thing is, like, the first album, I think, was a great introduction to people.
Yeah.
But I've told him, we're going to do album 2 and album 3 until we get to that place where I'm giving him a nice statement check and he can make the money he deserves. So I think it's a frustration, but it's also fuel that wakes me up in the morning and keeps me going, because so many people deserve to be making good money from the craft that they make every single day. And I feel like I'm just like a conduit to it all.
But how do you deal with like that pressure?
I think it's mostly from myself. Guys don't give me pressure, because I'm not in the... I don't take any money from their bookings. I don't take any money from the stuff where I suppose the quick cash comes from.
Yeah.
You know, so China plays 3, 4, 5 gigs a weekend. I don't know what he charges, but that money's his. I don't take a cent from that, although I've been a big part of the story and getting him to where he is. I just want to deal with the music. And China's like, he's doing like, I don't know, I think he's in 3-4 million streams collectively.
Yeah.
And if you look at where he was 2 years ago to where he is now, he's doing pretty well. And I'm very happy to be part of that story, you know. And he's also a relentless producer. He doesn't stop. So, like more... I suppose there are people that give me shit, as with any business where you're dealing with a lot of different personalities. And I do deal with a lot of personalities. But I know what I do is honest, and I know my intention is right. And that's what keeps me in check, you know?
So, like, how do you take care of yourself mentally? Like, do everything.
I do. It's actually a serious thing. Like, I think anyone that takes on a lot of responsibility in a lot of, and has to deal with a lot of different personalities. For me, I do like 2 or 3 walks a week, 5Ks. 1 or 2 of them is by myself, depending on how much I actually need to breathe. And I need a lot of time to myself. So when my wife is at work and my boy is at school, I'll take like an hour and just go and walk and just be in my head. And that's generally when things connect and I'm able to get a broader look at what is actually going on. Because there's so many moving parts, so much of the time. And I need to keep it moving and keep the parts connected for my life to keep going the way that it is. So walking is very, very helpful. And then I have a very close friend called Boyza. We've been friends for years. And we do once a week, 2-hour walk. So we go out and it's like a therapy session for both of us. And he's also just started a new business. He's in the entertainment industry, so he started a bar. And he tells me about all of his frustrations and I try and help him with my knowledge of business. And I tell him about all my frustrations and he helps me just being a supportive friend. And he's also got like some pretty human advice for me from time to time, you know. And that's how I deal with it. Sometimes it does become a bit much, but I need time for myself to process. And that's how I process.
So like how much music do you have?
I got a lot of music. Music is like, it just consumes me. It's just so much. I mean, the way that music is consumed at the moment is ridiculous. I mean, back in the day, you used to have to like get a record, take that record out the sleeve, put it on a platter, take the needle. If the needle wasn't broken, put it on the turntable, listen to the tune. That was a process. Whereas now, download, spacebar, you're in the song. Do I like it? Yes. Okay, what do I do next? Do I like it? No. Delete. Move forward. That's my process constantly. So, yeah, a lot. I put out a lot of music.
Yeah.
I think we're on like 1,000 lines on Stay True Sounds and Stay True Beats collectively. And I'm involved in a lot of music because of the radio show. So, yeah, just gang.
Yeah,
Gang music.
And then, so like, what's the difference between Stay True Sounds and Stay True Beats?
I had to put a line in the sand with the music that I was putting out. I tried to do it all on one label and it didn't really work because in South Africa we have the Deep House Police who are quite militant about how things, you know, are represented, and it does make sense. So Stay True Sounds is house or anything that sits in that 120, 115 space BPM. And then Stay True Beats is all the kind of left off center experimental electronic stuff. So there's a lot of like boom bap and instrumental hip hop, and Sio's put out quite a few projects because she wanted to do more experimental stuff.
Yeah.
MMK is coming out with his record on Stay True Beats. They're very defined, but the one common thread is that it's all South African.
Yeah. Very important.
It is, because I believe, you know, if you look at the States or you look at Europe or any of these other continents, all of them have hundreds of labels like mine.
Yeah.
Whereas South Africa has mine and a few others, but like not putting out, these guys are not waking up and working like I work.
Yeah.
This is my full-time job. The other guys that have labels, they're great labels, but they've got full-time jobs. The label is like something they do on the side.
Yeah.
This is not something I do on the side. This is something I do all the time. So I treat it that way. But the thing is, we have the majors, and all they want is popular music.
Yeah.
And then you have a few other labels, and you've got Stay True Sounds. And Stay True Sounds has taken up the space of House Africa and Soul Candy. So essentially, for Deep House, there's one output, and that's me. And that's also why I release so much music, because guys in South Africa there's not too many labels to pick from. And I think Stay True Sounds, you get a lot of extra mileage when you sign a record to Stay True. You're going to get plays on my radio show, You're going to get booking Spring Fiesta possibly because we have a Stately Sounds dance floor there.
Yeah.
There's a whole ecosystem that I feed into and that I put the music into. But I got to dig the music first, which I think is very transparent when you listen to the catalogue. It all has a common thread, you know?
How does it feel being that guy for South Africa?
I kind of knew this is where I would be. I've got articles that were written about me years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. And I was always like, this is, you know, I see myself as the tastemaker for South Africa. And it feels good. I just feel like I've said before, like it's a responsibility I take seriously, but I'm not done. I've still got so much work to do, you know? And when we host our first Stately Sounds event in London, I'm going to feel like we're getting things done. And it's going to happen. So it's just about time. Yeah, it will happen.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. We're going to listen back to this interview.
You heard it now.
Exactly.
So what do you think is the next step for Deep House in South Africa?
I don't think I think like producer is king in SA. I think the production level is just, it's at that level where it can actually like start playing in the international space. We always looked out.
Yeah.
We were always like, at Jazz, Charles Webster, now these guys are looking at us going, oh my God, these guys are amazing, because we are. I think I just need to keep pushing my agenda on that front. And I think Deep House, in some way or form, whether it be, I think it will always be niche and speak to a small audience, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to start making some noise overseas because the producers are just that good.
I know that's right.
100%. Drops mic.
If you want to listen to these conversations live and have access to this incredible community, you can join us at our physical campus, the Bridges Academy in Langa, South Africa. A revolutionary learning space where you will find courses on music, entrepreneurship, film, DJing, and much more. For more information on how to apply, visit bridgesacademy.org.
So with that, like, there's always the question of how to stay relevant. Do you think for Deep House, like, do you need to stay relevant?
No, I've never once woken up in the morning and gone like, I need to like get a Prada bag for my Instagram shoot. Like, that's not relevant for me. I think the music speaks for itself. People get excited about the music. If you're putting out dope shit or I've got a dope radio show, that's me being relevant. That's me being true to what is currently going on. And I think me being on top of what is coming out musically in my space keeps me ahead of the game.
Cool. I also think like, especially for Deep House, like you can listen to a song from like 20 years ago and it's still a banger.
100%.
You know, like for that relevancy thing, it's like, it has its places, but like I don't feel like Deep House is that place for it.
Sure.
And then I want to know like what catches your attention in terms of music, like
just it's honestly, I mean, it sounds so cliche because I wrote a song about it, but like it's about a feeling. If it moves me, then I'm gonna sign it. I need some emotional connection to the music, and generally that's always what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that high. It's like what drugs give you, but through audio.
Yeah.
And when I get that, when it kicks in and it, then I know. And there's so much soul in the music that we release in South Africa. Because we come from a very soulful background in my space.
So like with all these things that you're doing, like when do you find time for your music?
It's becoming more and more difficult, to be honest. But I've got a production partner, Johnny, who lives in Wales, all the way in the UK. And when I travel, we take time to focus. But by the time I get there, I generally have like a number of ideas that we can start unpacking and putting together. But it is becoming more and more difficult and less about me. Like, I'm becoming more and more of a label guy than I am an artist. Do you know what I mean? Which is fine.
That's
maybe
fine.
maybe I release one song a year. And that's gonna be fine.
Okay.
As long as I can release like another 100 songs from amazing artists, then it's fine. One Kid Funk song a year, sure.
J in the mix.
Yeah.
But like, we need more. We need more, kid. We need more. We really need more. We miss you, man.
Thanks.
We need like Jay next year, please.
Yeah, I also like I said, like the real heart of me is a DJ and playing other people's records, you know? That's always been my thing.
And then there's the other debate of exclusives and Shazamable songs.
Yes.
Like, they say DJs should play, especially deep house DJs, should play like only exclusives. But like, I don't feel like that should be the thing. Like, at least have like a mix, you know?
Yeah, I think there's no rules. In music, there's no rules. So what one person says works for them. But I can do completely the opposite.
Yeah.
That's what works for me. I know what makes me relevant is the fact that I can play shit no one else can play. Because I'm in that position with the radio show and with the record label. But that's also my job. And that's how I grew up. I grew up listening to a whole bunch of DJs that could play shit that I never heard of in my life. And that's what got me excited. Oh my gosh, he just played this thing. It was amazing. How do I find that song? That created hype. And I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that puts you on to the next thing.
Because I feel like for the conversation like that's happening is like that's what used to happen back then. Like you would hear a song, be like, oh my god, I want it, I can't find it. So like people are trying to bring that element back, of which you can't because it's such a more digital thing now. So yeah, I like that answer. Also, like, what do you think makes a good DJ or a great DJ?
I think there's a certain amount of technicality that I admire, and then there's a certain amount that actually I couldn't care less for, because for me it's music first. So if you are playing music that's thought out and amazing and turns me on, I think you're a good DJ.
Still, it's the music.
Always.
No chicks.
Number one.
No gimmicks.
No.
Just make me dance.
No,
make
it's
me
cool.
feel.
It's cool. Like, there's so many DJs in this country that are amazing at doing effects. But like, as long as the music is on point, for me, that's my thing. I just want you to play dope shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All that other stuff is cool. It's the frills. But like, can you listen to those frills in 10 years' time? No, you just want to listen to the song. So, but I understand their purpose for the event at the time. It's exciting. But my goal is always to showcase the best of what's going on now.
And what do you think is missing, like now, in the deep house scene?
Girls. Come on now. Like, how many gigs must I go to on the weekend where it's just guys drinking beer? You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about it.
And like, it's definitely it's a South African thing. But like, the music we play is so beautiful and emotive, and it's just a bunch of dudes like nodding their heads, which is cool. That's my space. I'm grateful for it. But we definitely need more girls up in the spot, without a doubt. I don't know how to change that. But you got a nice scene here in Cape Town. I mean, I see plenty girls at We Are Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it's a different type of space. But I would dig to be playing for more female energy.
I feel you.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm trying to hit, man. Do you still have time? Okay. What else? Did you have a chance to look at the BA, the thing that we're doing here, the music MBA? Like, did you have a look at what we're doing?
No.
Okay, so basically here at Bridges, you learn how to DJ, but only like for a month, and then the main focus is on producing, and we have Kevisto here who helps out with that. What do you think of the space of Bridges so far?
I like it. It looks beautiful. To be honest, I've been trying to get to here for a long time. I've been very curious to see what's happening here. I believe Stay True Sounds, in a sense, is doing something similar without all of the stuff.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, you guys have got a lot of stuff here, which is great. A lot of stuff my producers, when I say mine, the producers that come through State True Sounds, could probably use. So yeah, it's interesting. I would love for us in some way or manner to form some sort of collaboration moving forward, because I believe that we are doing similar work. Yeah, so I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I finally made it to Bridges.
We are happy to have you here, Bridges. And then what was the question I wanted to ask? Selective styles.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you pick your songs? Are you like, today I feel like playing this vibe, or do you like set out a playlist? Well, okay, this week it's this song.
So I get sent a lot of music. So what I'll do is I'll download music in the course of the week, and then generally come Thursday morning, all the music will just be sitting in my download folder. And I have Bandcamp as well. So what I do is, instead of downloading music on Bandcamp, I put everything into my baskets. Then on Thursday, I'll wake up when everyone's out the house. I sit down, I'm like, okay, it's Selective Styles time. I open all the folders that I've downloaded, and I go to Bandcamp, and I literally go through my basket and see what I really want and what I don't. And then I'll buy X amount of stuff, and then that lands up in my download folder. So essentially, I'm just working in folders. Then I start going through the music that I've purchased and the music that I've downloaded. And it's quite a quick process. I'll listen to stuff, and if it moves me, it lands up in iTunes. Whatever's in iTunes will land up somewhere at some point.
Okay.
If I don't like it, bye-bye. And I move on and I move on. So then I land up with 20, 30 songs in iTunes, and I take those songs and I put them into a folder for Selective Styles for that week. That's outside the guest.
Yeah.
So this is just me picking stuff. And then I take those songs and I curate it. And the first things that I need to do is, whenever Selective Styles comes on, I want to make sure that there's a shift in the frequency that coming through your speakers as a music listener. So I'll always make sure that the first song is that. So it's super important that I find that song for the week that is going to change the mood, change the frequency, change everything about your listening experience at that time. And I get that right. And then from there, there's a slow build up with new music from different genres in the lead up to mix 1 and 2. And those mixes I generally put together quite quickly. And that's a mixture of whatever's like I'm working on at the moment, plus music from other people. So there'll be some Stay True Sound stuff, and there'll be some stuff that I get from other labels. And in the short kind of way of explaining it, that's how I do it. And then I'll pick someone in my mind that I've either been playing a lot of on the show, or that has something that really excites me coming up as a guest. And 98% of the time, they are a producer, because it's very important for me to showcase what's going on in the underground scene in South Africa. And that's what Selective Styles is there for. It's a platform for us to listen and discover these artists together.
Yeah. So the music that you select for Selective Styles, do people like email you, or like how do you get the music?
There's a lot of ways. Like I said, the one is mail, and I'll go through stuff. The other one is Bandcamp, where I'm actually looking out to see, hey, if you got stuff, there's plenty of ways. And then like I've got like a bunch of friends, and even guys in the Stay True Sounds camp that send me music. Fka Mash sends me music. And then if I'm at gigs, I'll hear shit and I'll be like, yo, I need that. Then I'll hack that person, you need to give me that. Then I'm on promo lists around the world. So there's numerous ways. But the one thing I don't do is generally just open up promos, because I don't really get promos. But there are ways, like I said in my talk now, if you're making amazing stuff, inevitably I'm going to find you. At least amazing stuff in my space, you know? If you're making amazing stuff that speaks to a different language to Stay True Sounds, I'm sure I'm not even looking out for it. Yeah.
And then, like, what do you do for fun besides music? Besides music.
Trainers is my thing. Eh? I spend a lot of time looking at trainers online. That's honestly, my wife has had enough. I've always loved trainers. And I think like the older I get, the more like I'm into it. I love art. There's specific artists that I grew up like really admiring, where I can afford some of their prints now. Like I love walking. I love my family, spending time with my family.
Yeah.
I've got a very close knit, my wife and my son, and travel. Like I love traveling, and I love showing people what's going on in SA. It excites me because it's like a sincere, like genuine enthusiasm for what's the space I'm in.
Like, what's the weirdest encounter you've had?
From like a fan or from like... there's been some strange ones. Wow. I think like in my early days when I was DJing back in Johannesburg, like some chick came up to me and she was like, please can you play something good? That'll always stick with me because like that's like the ultimate diss. Like that is like the highest form of like diss.
How did you take it?
I was like, I did take it quite personally because I was young. I suppose I'd take it personally now as well. But I knew musically she wasn't as advanced as where I was, and I was playing something that wasn't 4/4. So it was structurally, it was a little bit broken, what I was playing. And I literally mixed in a 4/4 track because I knew that that's where she wanted to be. And then she was like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. So I dealt with it by, in a sense, kind of pleasing her, which I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But I was very young at the time. But yeah, I suppose that was the highest form of a diss that I've ever had.
And like, what influences your fashion? Like how you dress?
I'm a child of hip hop. I've always, like, before house there was hip hop.
Mm.
And experimental trip hop, like that was really the music that I grew up and loved. And acid jazz and Jamiroquai and like Wu-Tang and Dilla and Farside and Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Black Thought and the list goes on. And Mo Wax is a huge part. That's a record label I grew up listening to. That a lot of the art that I'm into comes from artists that they commissioned to do work back in, and that's my history. And a lot of that stuff is very much in street fashion at the moment. Like Futura 2000 has done stuff with Virgil, who is like the street fashion king, and Futura 2000 is like 65 now. You know, I grew up before there was Virgil.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm like Virgil. Virgil was influenced by all these people, and so was I. So I draw my inspiration very much on my history, and it hasn't changed much since I was a kid. I show my wife pictures of me when I'm 13. She's like, you dress exactly the same. And I'm 43. And yeah, it's always been that way. I've always been into street gear. I've always been very influenced by hip-hop culture, at least the 90s hip-hop culture. You know what I mean? Like quite raw streetwear. I'm not really into like the bling mumble stuff.
Is it why that guy, you said like there was a guy that walked up to you and was like, I love your music, but you're just like a skr. Probably like the
I'll always be the skr DJ.
It's fine.
Which is, I don't care, that's my thing, yeah. And that's very much who I am. I was brought up, fashion was always a priority for me. At least the fashion that I like was a priority for me growing up, and it always will be. So that's just who I am.
Do you think like it's important for how you dress to match what you do?
Not necessarily. I think it's just important to be yourself, regardless of what that is. I don't think, Oscar and Bo's got his thing going on, and I think he is a deep house DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got his lane that works for him.
Yeah.
And Vinny is Vinny. You know, exactly. Yeah. And that's his lane. There's no rules. You can make up your story as you go and whatever works for you. And this works for me, you know.
Cool. Stay true.
That's it.
True. Thank you so much, Kid Fonque. We really enjoyed having you here today. And we can't wait to have you back at Bridges.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Finally.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as we do making them. Remember, if you'd like to attend any of these workshops live, enroll in any of our upcoming programs. To support the work we do, you can find more information on bridgesformusic.org. Please don't forget to subscribe, as we'll be bringing new inspiring conversations soon. Until next time, keep safe.